What if a heart attack comes and you're alone? There's no phone nearby, no one else in the house. Your time is seconds away. What would you do? Hold on, don't swipe this video, because what you're about to learn today could save your life or that of a loved one. Hi, I'm not here to scare you, but because I care. At age 60 and above, the risk of heart attack increases dramatically. And the truth is, many of us live alone or spend time alone at home, but the good news, you can survive. Today I'm going to share 7 essential steps every senior should know to survive a heart attack, even when alone. 1. Recognize early signs. Heart attacks don't always come like in the movies, with sudden and dramatic chest pains. In fact, many people, especially those over 60, experience symptoms that are much more subtle, yet just as deadly. Recognize the following symptoms, as it could be your only chance to act quickly. Pain or pressure in the chest like being crushed by a heavy object is a classic sign, but it's not the only one. The discomfort can radiate to the left arm, back, neck, jaw, or even the upper abdomen. Many seniors also complain of shortness of breath, cold sweats, dizziness, or nausea, which are often mistaken for digestive problems or ordinary fatigue. Women in particular sometimes experience more silent symptoms, such as extreme fatigue or sleep disturbances. For this reason, many realize too late that they are having a heart attack. Recognizing these signs is crucial, as every minute counts. A heart that is deprived of blood supply can be permanently damaged in just minutes. If you feel something is wrong, don't ignore your instincts. Acting right then and there could save your life. Because once you realize the symptoms, the next question is, what should you do? Let's move on to the next step, how to calm down and survive those crucial first minutes. 2. Sit down and calm down immediately. Once you recognize the signs of a heart attack, the next step is very important. Sit down and calm down immediately. Why sit down? Because when your heart is deprived of oxygen, standing or walking can aggravate the heart's workload. Sit in an upright position, lean back if necessary, and try to breathe slowly and deeply. This is not the time to panic, although it is a natural reaction. But panicking speeds up the heart rate and makes the condition worse. Think of it like trying to calm turbulent waters. The calmer you are, the more likely you are to survive. Tell yourself, I know this is a sign of a heart attack, but I know what to do. I will focus and act. If you are alone, don't try to get help by running or climbing stairs. Doing so can accelerate heart damage. Sit down, take a deep breath, and move on to the next step. Because in these critical seconds, one small thing can make a big difference. And one small step that is often overlooked can actually save lives. Let's move on to step 3, a simple item that you should always have at home, Aspirin. 3. Chew aspirin if available. It may sound simple, but it could be one of the few actions that actually saves your life. Chew 1 aspirin tablet as soon as heart attack symptoms appear. Why aspirin? Because aspirin works as a blood thinner. When a heart attack occurs, there is usually a blood clot blocking the coronary artery, the main blood vessel to the heart. By chewing aspirin, you help slow down the clotting process, giving more time for blood flow to continue and minimizing damage to the heart. But important, don't swallow aspirin whole, chew it, because chewing speeds up absorption into the bloodstream and time is of the essence. Keep low-dose aspirin, 81 milligrams, in an easily accessible place, kitchen drawer, bedside table, or even in your wallet. If you have a history of heart disease or have been advised by a doctor, make sure your family or neighbors know where it is. And one important note, only do this if you're not allergic to aspirin or don't have a specific medical history that prohibits you from taking it. If in doubt, consult your doctor first when you're healthy, not in an emergency. Once you've chewed your aspirin, the next action is the most crucial, calling for help. Because you may only have a few minutes before your body can no longer act. So now we get to step 4, how to call for help when you're alone. 4. Call 911 as soon as possible. Once you've sat quietly and chewed your aspirin, the next step is obvious. Call emergency medical assistance as soon as possible. In the United States, the emergency number is 911. Don't delay. Don't think, I'll wait 5 minutes. Maybe it's just a cold. Procrastination is the ultimate enemy when a heart attack occurs. If you are using a cell phone, activate the speakerphone so you can keep breathing and talking without holding the phone to your ear. If you have a smartwatch, the SOS button can instantly call an ambulance. Some devices even send your location automatically, a small feature that can save a life. For seniors who live alone, an emergency alert system such as a medical bracelet or alert necklace can be the best investment. You may not always be able to reach the phone, but the touch of a button can summon help in seconds. One more thing, don't be embarrassed or feel inconvenienced. 911 dispatchers are trained to handle these types of situations, and they'd rather arrive for something that turns out to be minor than arrive too late for something fatal. Once you've dialed 911 and help is on the way, it's time to think about your body position, because the way you position yourself can also have a huge impact on your survival. So now, let's get into step 5. Why lying down can be a fatal mistake, and what the best position is when waiting for an ambulance. 5. Don't lie down. Perhaps your first instinct when you're in pain is to lie down and close your eyes. But when a heart attack strikes, lying down can actually make it worse. Why? Because when you lie down, especially in a supine position, the workload of the heart can increase. Blood flow can become slower back to the heart, especially if you are already weak. In some cases, lying down can speed up the decline in consciousness or even cause you to pass out more quickly. The best position is to sit upright with your back leaning back, for example on a sofa, chair, or even the floor with the back of a wall. Make sure your head and chest are higher than your legs. This aids breathing and allows the heart to pump blood more efficiently. If you feel very weak or dizzy, it is okay to lower your body slightly, but still avoid a completely flat position. Remember, the goal is to minimize pressure on the heart while keeping consciousness awake. The key here is to stay awake, stay conscious, and calmly wait for help to arrive. And if at this point you feel increasingly claustrophobic or start to lose consciousness, there's a much talked about, though still controversial technique known as cough CPR. So let's move on to step 6. What exactly is cough CPR and when or if should it be used? 6. Use CPR coughing technique only in very special situations. You may have heard the term cough CPR, an emergency technique that is said to help someone survive a cardiac arrest. But let's get this straight. This technique is not always appropriate and is not recommended for all situations. Coughing CPR involves coughing hard and deep repeatedly while taking deep breaths between coughs. The idea is to maintain blood flow to the brain and heart by applying pressure on the chest through coughing. This technique is sometimes taught to patients who are experiencing severe arrhythmias in a hospital setting, under medical supervision, and still fully conscious. However, the American Heart Association does not recommend this technique for laypeople, especially those who are home alone and unsure whether what is happening is actually an arrhythmia or a heart attack. If you're in doubt, it's better to focus on the previous steps. Sit quietly, chew aspirin, call 911, and wait with the correct body position. Don't waste your energy trying techniques that may not be appropriate. But if you have been trained or have been advised by your doctor to use this technique in certain circumstances, such as having a specific cardiac history, use it wisely. Don't make it a primary step, but as a last resort in a fully conscious state and before you lose consciousness. Now we get to the last step, often forgotten, but very important. How a small piece of technology that you can wear on your wrist or necklace can be the silent savior of your life. Let's move on to step 7. Use a medical alert system. 7. Use the medical alert system. Picture this. You're lying on the floor with a heart attack, unable to stand up. Talking is even more difficult. Your cell phone is out of reach. But on your wrist, there's a little button. One press and an ambulance is sent to your location. This is the power of the medical alert system. These devices are specially designed for the elderly or individuals with high health risks who often spend time alone. They can be bracelets, necklaces, smartwatches, even automated sensors in the home. Some systems connect directly to a 24-hour service center, which will call an ambulance even if you can't speak. Some are equipped with GPS, heart rate trackers, and fall detection features. In emergency cases, response time can be the difference between life and death. And these devices, which are only the size of a coin can, cut the time to help from 15 minutes to 5 minutes or less. Unfortunately, many consider this a sick man's item. In fact, it's protection, not weakness, but wisdom. Because the more prepared you are, the more likely you are to survive. And this is where it all converges. Because from the first signs to pressing the last emergency button, all these steps can be the difference between a survivor's story and a late one. Now let me take you to the most important part of all this, the climactic moment that shows how real this threat is and how real the hope is if you're prepared. Let me tell you a true story that might make you rethink readiness. Her name was Margaret, 72 years old, living alone in Arizona. One night, around 2 a.m., she woke up with a sharp pain in her chest and sweat pouring down her face. She knew this wasn't just a sleep disorder, but what set Margaret apart from the thousands of others who didn't survive that night was this. She was prepared. She didn't panic. She sat on the edge of the bed, took a slow breath, then grabbed an aspirin from the bedside drawer and chewed it. With trembling hands, she pressed the button on her medical alert necklace. Within 6 minutes, the ambulance arrived in front of her house. The doctor said that if Margaret was just 10 minutes late, her heart could fail completely. But because she knew the steps, because she watched videos like this and prepared in advance, it wasn't the end of her life. It was the beginning of a new chapter. Now he inspires others to be ready too. It's not about fear. It's about choice. You can choose to stay silent and hope the heart attack never comes. Or you can choose to be ready and act like Margaret. And now let's summarize everything you've learned so it can really stick in your memory. Because this knowledge isn't just to be heard, it's to be prepared and shared. We're coming to the conclusion. So let's review them, not just as information, but as real life steps. 1. Recognize early symptoms, chest pain, shortness of breath, nausea, cold sweat. 2. Sit down and calm down, avoid panic, help the heart work lighter. 3. Chew aspirin if not allergic. This can slow heart damage. 4. Call 911 immediately. Don't wait, don't hesitate. Time is the heart muscle. 5. Do not lie down. Sitting upright is safer until help arrives. 6. Coughing CPR? Only if you understand and your doctor advises. Don't make it a priority. 7. Use a medical alert system, a small tool that can be a big lifesaver. None of these steps require a medical degree. They don't require physical strength. It only takes one thing, awareness and preparation, and that's what's most likely to save your life, or that of your loved ones. Many people think they'll know what to do when a crisis hits. But the truth is, when the heart weakens, what's often lost first isn't a beat, but time to think. Don't let you or your parents be victimized by not knowing what to do, because now you know. Now I want you to do one simple but very important thing. Share this video with your family, neighbors, and friends who are 50 years old or older, because this knowledge is not just for you, but for those who might be alone in an emergency situation. Then make sure you and your loved ones are prepared. Keep aspirin in an accessible place, recognize emergency numbers, and consider using a medical alert system. Don't wait until it happens, prepare now. Remember Margaret's story? It could be you or someone you care about, so act today, because in an emergency situation, preparation is the key to survival. Thank you for watching until the end. I hope this information gives you peace and strength. If you want to know more health tips or other inspiring stories, don't forget to subscribe and enable notifications. Take care of yourself and your loved ones, because every second is precious.